Welcome to Pack Pulse, the video series that delivers packaging expertise and a heartbeat. I'm Lisa Pierce, your host, executive editor of Packaging Digest. And we're here to learn some quick automation tips to maybe help solve your labor challenges. I have the opportunity to talk with Samuel Bouchard, who is the CEO of Robotiq. Samuel, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
It's getting harder for manufacturers to find, hire, and retain good workers. Automation can definitely help by taking over some of those boring, mundane tasks. But there are different levels of automation, packaging automation. Why are cobots the better choice these days?
Well, cobots, they're better for some tasks, and some other solutions are better for other tasks. But the labor shortage, the difficulty of finding and keeping engaged some manual worker, that's the obvious problem. That's the problem that everybody sees. But what we don't want to do when we introduce automation is we don't want to trade this problem with a new problem, which is to find automation experts. And that's where cobots are really interesting, because they're easy to learn, because they come with an ecosystem of standard solution. They're a good solution for your team to do a bottom-up type of automation, really step-by-step, station by station, and also to allow some of your team members to learn the technology. So you solve both the manual problem, and you also don't create that challenge of finding those automation experts. Quite the opposite, you offer an opportunity for your best people, you're more curious or you're more tech savvy, to really grow with you and bring even more value to your business.
That's excellent. It never could occur to me that the workers could then learn from the robots. Fascinating idea.
One bad thing about automation that can happen, if that's something that's fully automated, then there's a whole group of your workers that cannot adapt and learn, and they're just moved away. But if you have easy to use, easy to learn automation systems, then people can grow. The best people can grow with you in that journey, and just bring more value and increase their happiness at work and their compensation as well, ultimately.
Yes, that is an excellent point to make about retaining some of those good workers, giving them a challenge, but also a reward. They're increasing their own skills as they go along. Fantastic. So I know one of the things about cobots is that they're fairly easy to scale up. How so, and why is that pretty important?
Yeah, so when people look at automation, in many cases, they look at it and it always seems like a compromise where, okay, it's going to be a high impact, but it's going to be also a high risk, and it's going to be very costly. And the interesting thing with cobots and standard solutions built around cobots is that you can really get best of both worlds, meaning you can have a low risk, but also a high impact ultimately. And why that is because it's really, again, a bottom-up approach. So you look at your whole manufacturing chain, and you look at where you have bottlenecks in your chain, and then you can go step by step, station by station. And you do one station, you deploy, and then after a while you get the return on this station, and then you can move to the next. And as you go, you can tackle more and more complex tasks. And the more station you have automated, well, the bigger the return that you have. So ultimately, you get that big return, but you do it in a way that really minimizes the risk. So it's really that bottom-up approach that makes cobots really interesting.
Nice.
And if let's say we look at, so sometimes you look at one station and you say, okay, I'm going to save the labor, I'm going to increase productivity a little bit. So it's going to be a small return, but if you add many of them, then the return can be interesting. So for example, for palletizing, the product we focus in this discussion, we've deployed more than 800. And if you take the estimate of $150,000 per station, and people typically get a return between 1 and 2 years. So if you have 800 stations times 150, which is the yearly return, it's more than $100 million that we estimate our customers are saving because of their investment. So that's across the whole market. But you can imagine if you have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 lines across your factory or a few different factories, the numbers add up pretty significantly.
It's great that you can add some numbers onto that because that's what the business folks are going to want to hear about.
Mhm.
Excellent. So one of the things that I saw on your website was VUCA, um, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. How do you pronounce that? Is it VUCA or just VUCA?
Yeah, I would pronounce it VUCA.
Okay.
And I mean, the world is changing. It's changing fast, right? And I always joke that I stopped trying to predict the future a few years back. And if you look at the recent years, it's, I mean, everybody having to run a business, it's been quite challenging, right? So we had COVID with all the labor challenge, all the supply chain challenge. And then when things picked back up again, we went to zero to back to full production. Then we had tariff inflation, and now we have some technological disruptor like AI, etc. So that's what VUCA stands for, is that the world is really hard to predict. It's changing really fast. And it really has to change the mindset where you have less to be in anticipation mode, but you have to be more adaptable and you have to be resilient to all these changes and be really resourceful. And you have to make decisions in your investment according to that new reality as well, because it's not going to change. It's just going to keep going like that.
And Samuel, how does automation then help mitigate some of the risks of VUCA?
Yeah, so if you choose the right automation, meaning the automation that is flexible enough, that is capable enough, well, first of all, you reduce the fixed costs. So it gives you some room to adapt. It reduces the dependency on hard to find labor, and it also, you can cope with demand fluctuation as well. So I mean, COVID was an extreme example where we went all the way totally stopped. Sometimes production had to go from 0 to 100 really, really fast. So automation can really help you with that. And again, if you use flexible automation, it can be repurposed easily. So keep it in mind when you want to automate. You have to look at the ROI, but you have to also want to make sure that you still have enough flexibility, because there's going to be change in customer demand, change in volume, and there's going to be all sorts of other changes that will happen that we can predict as of today. So if you choose flexible automation, you will reduce the cost and you will keep that adaptability on the factory floor. That's very important today.
Great. Well, somewhat in line with this, I know that you guys have a new cobot palletizer that you're going to be showing at the upcoming Pack Expo Las Vegas show at the end of September. What's new or different about that system, specific to what we've been talking about here?
Yeah. So that new palletizer, we call it Pal Ready. So it's a production ready palletizer. So what we want to do with this, we really want to move from engineering and projects to a standard product. So something that you just really, a standard machine, you wrap it on your factory floor and it works. So that's really the idea of that Pal Ready, that new palletizer that we're launching. And it's really one step forward in that in that journey that we call Lean Robotics. So Lean Robotics is a book that I wrote in 2017. And what it is, it's really just all the knowledge that we have at Robotiq that I condensed into a book. It's what it is, it's a few good principles to deploy successfully robots. And it's also just a step-by-step guide to go through design, integration, and operation. So this methodology is still good, but what it is also, it's really our design philosophy for all the products that we make. And we've been selling palletizer for the last 5 years, and we've done it so far doing a modular approach, which we continue to do. So what we want to do again is we want to move away from all the custom engineering. That's really where all the cost and all the budget challenges and all the schedule challenges, the timeline challenges arise. So by having standard modules, you can assemble, you can do it faster. So we still do this. We call this the PAL series. That's our approach, our modular approach. But over the course of these 5 years, we've seen the most common use cases. And what we do now is really package this into that PAL-ready palletizer. And what we offer to the customer as well is really a digital to physical journey to really go with full confidence. We have some online simulation tool that will really guide the customers, say, okay, for your application, you should go PAL Ready. For this application, you should go PAL Series, the modular approach. So really streamline that whole process by leveraging digital tools as well. But also without forgetting that ultimately it's not only digital. You have to come up to the physical world ultimately.
Okay, it's wonderful though to have that digital component to where you can, um, try something out first to see if it's going to work before going all the way. So you're going to be at the show. What's your booth number there at the show so that we can invite the folks listening to come by?
All right, so the booth number at PAC Expo it's in the south lower hall, and it's number 11054.
Okay, wonderful. South Lower 11054.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, I know I'll come by and see it. Samuel, thank you so much for sharing your expertise here at PAC Pulse.
Thank you very much, Lisa. See you at PAC Expo.